Hey everyone, this is Tony, Tainted Lord 87, and here's part 6 of my CD collection. So let's go straight to it. The first CD I'm going to show off is I Prevail Trauma. Yeah, I Prevail's Trauma is overall like a modern metal album with some electronics and industrial influences. And it's a good album. It's not bad. But it's not the kind of album I go to every day, maybe occasionally. And I Prevail is not really a band I go to that much, but Trauma is a good album from them, and it's probably all I need from this band. So yeah, I Prevail's Trauma is a good modern metal album. Next up is on my Within Temptation CDs. The first one being The Unforgiven by Within Temptation, which is a good symphonic rock metal album. A bit, mainstream, but it's good for what it is. Yeah. So, The Unforgiven by Within Temptation. Next up is Resist by Within Temptation, which I think is a bit of a return to the more metal side and definitely has some heavier songs than they normally do. But yeah, just a really solid um symphonic metal album, I guess. Yeah, yeah, just a good album from Within Temptation, and that's Resist. Next up is The Silent Force by Within Temptation, a really, really good symphonic metal album. And I think this is the album that really broke them into mainstream popularity, in my opinion. So, yeah, Within Temptation, The Silent Force. Within Temptation, The Heart of Everything, another really good album from them. And the last one is Within Temptation, Mother Earth. I think this is the last really good symphonic metal album before they started to soften up the sound a little bit. They're still good, it's just not as heavy as before, but yeah, I think Within Temptations, Mother Earth is the last time they went really heavy, in my opinion. But yeah, Within Temptation, Mother Earth. Next up is a few Godsmack CDs. The first one being When Legends Rise, a very solid hard rock album. Very aggressive, heavy, and straight to the point. So yeah, Godsmack, When Legends Rise, solid album. Next up is The Oracle by Godsmack, another solid hard rock album from Godsmack. Next up is the latest album, Lighting Up the Sky by Godsmack, which is a little bit softer, a little bit more mainstream, and more digestible, but still a pretty good album by Godsmack. So, yeah, Lighting Up the Sky by Godsmack. Next up is Godsmack, Good Times, Bad Times, 10 Years of Godsmack. Obviously, this is a compilation, and it's a pretty good compilation album by Godsmack, which focuses on the first two or three Godsmack albums. But yeah, just a cool compilation by Godsmack. And the last Godsmack album that I have is the self-titled album, which to me is probably the most aggressive album they've done. Just really heavy and aggressive and balls out heavy, I dare say. But yeah, Godsmack's self-titled album. Next up is Queen, The Miracle, just a solid rock album, just a classic from Queen. Yeah, so yeah, Queen, The Miracle, just a classic rock album from Queen. And Queen, News of the World. Again, another solid classic rock album from Queen. Next up is Mazzy Star, Among My Swan. Just a really like a guitar driven, acoustic sounding power pop album, I guess, with some ethereal female vocals. Just the kind of band you just want to listen to after having a very stressful day and just want to chill, relax, and just clear your head of all the stress and just just to relax and chill. But yeah, Mazzy Star, Among My Swan, it's a good album. Next up is Mazzy Star, She Hangs Brightly, another solid album from this band. Really, really like this one. So yeah, Mazzy Star, She Hangs Brightly. And the last Mazzy Star album that I have is So Tonight That I Might See. Yeah, So Tonight I Might See by Mazzy Star. Um, Another solid album from Mazzy Star. Nothing more, nothing less. Next up is Dimension Zero, This Is Hell. If you want some fast, aggressive, vicious, melodic death metal that pulls no punches, Dimension Zero and This Is Hell is an amazing straight up album that just punches you in the guts and forces you to headbang. Such a great album, in my opinion. So, yeah, Dimension Zero, This Is Hell. Next up is three CDs from the same band, and that's Frontline Assembly, Hardwired. If you want some classic early 90s industrial metal, industrial music in general, Frontline Assembly, Hardwired is a great album if you're into like industrial metal, industrial music from the early 90s. Really good stuff. So, yeah, Frontline Assembly, Hardwired. Frontline Assembly, Millennium, a classic album from these guys. And I think this is the album where it's more guitar driven industrial metal. You know, they went from industrial music for more industrial metal sound with more guitars driven into it, in my opinion. And it's just a classic album. So yeah, Frontline Assembly, Millennium, great album, a classic. And the last Frontline Assembly album is actually a small little EP called Plasticity. Yeah, just a small little EP with only like 3 songs, which focuses on more of the industrial, um, electronic side of Frontline Assembly, and not much industrial metal, but still a solid EP. Just some really good stuff. So yeah, Plasticity by Frontline Assembly. Next up is In Thy Dreams, Highest Beauty. Yeah, In Thy Dreams, Highest Beauty, another solid melodic death metal album from In Thy Dreams. Like Dimension Zero, this is another fast, furious, porno punches, aggressive melodic death metal that everyone should check out because In Thy Dreams is really underrated and definitely a band that needs more appreciation and love. So, yeah, In Thy Dreams, Highest Beauty, an awesome melodic death metal album. Okay, the next three CDs are from the same band, and that's Faith No More, The Real Thing. Just a classic album. If you love your alternative rock, alternative metal, hard rock, even heavy metal, Faith No More should be no introduction. Everybody should know this band. So yeah, The Real Thing is a classic from them. Next up is Faith No More, Introduce Yourself. Again, another solid album from these guys. And the last Faith No More album that I have is Album of the Year. Yeah, Album of the Year by Faith No More. Another solid album from these guys. If you ask me, Faith No More never puts out a bad album, at least from the ones I've heard from them, and this is no exception. Just a solid album from Faith No More. So yeah, Album of the Year by Faith No More. And the last CD I'm going to show off in this CD collection is Audioslave in the album Out of Exile. Just a really solid hard rock, alternative rock, or just a solid rock album in general. Really good stuff. Mainstream, but the good kind of mainstream if you ask me. Just a solid album. So yeah, Audioslave, Out of Exile. And that's it, everyone. That's part 6 of my CD collection. Hope everyone enjoyed it, and see everyone next time for part 7. Take care and goodbye.